and good afternoon. Happy Sunday, everyone. Hey Nadine, hey Tim. Don't mind my messy hair, as usual. I gotta make fun of these situations. How's everybody doing? I want to do some check-ins. How's everybody doing? I'm doing great. Um, hey baby. Hey MK. So as read in my, my little thumbnail, we're talking about body shaming. For those who don't know, body shaming is the criticizing and making judgments based on somebody's weight and their size, right? Basically, the way they look. Many of us have been victims of such. Like I always say, this is an open discussion. You could freely speak in my comment section. I have um, that doesn't bother me. I love when people interact. I love hearing people's experiences. There is room for growth here. There's room to learn from one another, and that's something I'm trying to point out every time I do my streams. Um, so let's get to it. If you have had an experience, whether it's your childhood experience being bullied for the way you look, the way you dress, far as weight and height, whatever the case may be, feel free to comment. You know, I know it's a Sunday. A lot of us go to church. A lot of us is our lazy day. Usually it's my lazy day as well. But I love speaking with you guys. I get a lot of joy hearing and seeing people's experiences. Hey, lazy. Well, let me just call you Jedi. I kind of want to call you lazy. Um, has anyone here presently watching gone through, body shaming? Because I could speak a lot on mine. Like I've been through it a lot, and I still kind of go through it, but it's not as bad as when I was a kid, you know. And the reason I decided to speak on this because it does affect us mentally and physically. And the reason I say it affects us physically is that, for example, me, I'm a plus size girl, right? And a lot of females like me tend to do kind of like self harm regarding their weight because everybody's picking on them, like, oh, you too fat. Oh, she's never gonna lose weight. Oh, she eats a lot. And there's a lot of misconceptions going around regarding a lot of people, not just women, but a lot of people being heavyweight, right? Or being obese. There's a lot of things that go behind that. It's not just about, oh, this person eats a lot. No. A lot of it has to do with their hormones and certain health conditions. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm hoping she could hear me. I do have a special guest. Hey, Nadine.
Hi, Sonia. Good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me well?
Yes, I can.
Okay. This is my first time on the StreamYard, and I'm not comfortable with video yet. That's why you see a pic of me up there. But I told Sonia that I would be here today to support her in this very important topic. And before you move on, I just want to say that as a woman, I'm very proud of Sonia in this space, in the um, you know, I mean, this is new for her. Um, I know her, you know, her husband helped her set up the YouTube channel, and this is phenomenal. Like the, um, the progression and that she's taking in life, and I just want to say that I'm really proud of you.
Thank you so much, Nadine. I appreciate you for taking some time and being part of this. I honestly appreciate you. Um, so Mark has said that he has been body shamed for being skinny, and we all know, nobody likes being picked on, regardless of how they look. Nadine, have you ever experienced body shaming?
Oh, okay. Sorry, I had to put my mic on. I have not, to a great extent. I have been bullied, and you know, for many different reasons, because I'm short. I'm a woman. Um, I'm a minority, so you get a lot of you know bullying. From from people that just don't understand people in general. But I have not experienced it greatly, but maybe so in terms of what we wear. So you get a little bit of that. I've gotten a little bit of that, but as a woman, but not necessarily, um, from for the way I look. I maybe when I was younger, because I was extremely, extremely. Then I couldn't put weight on. It was, I ate a lot, but I had just one of those metabolisms that didn't allow me to put weight on, no matter what I ate. And people used to be like, "You're like a garbage disposal." So on the other end of the spectrum, um, I had a little bit of that, because um, people are like, "Are you eating?" So I mean, for me, I think that's a little bit of body shaming as well, because people are making you feel inadequate, when it's has nothing to, you have no power, and I think that's what Sonia will get into a little bit further down the line, where we just look at an individual and we just think that, oh, they just can't control, their appetite, and it really is a lot of times has nothing to do with that. And I'll let you get into a little bit more about that. I'll add to that.
Most definitely. And thank you, Nadine, for being open too, because I know for some it's not an easy topic in a sense to discuss these things. Um, so before you came in, I did mention like there's many reasons why a lot of people, like heavy set like me, or like just in general, some have issues with the weight, right? Like for some it's so easy to gain weight off of anything. And a lot of people, because they lack the knowledge of it, is due to a lot of health conditions. It's not just about this person's eating a lot of food, or this person's eating a lot of unhealthy foods. There's a lot of people that do eat healthy, however they still put on weight. But there's always underlying conditions that affects us in some shape or form. We're dealing with high levels of stress. We're dealing with the foods that we see in our neighborhoods. This is, what do we have available to us to eat in our neighborhoods, right? Our culture, our genes, the way we were raised, like all that affects us, right? And for me, it's the depression and anxiety, things like that. Some medications are known to cause weight gain. And if for no, at least for some, yeah, it causes weight gain. For others, it causes weight loss. However, one thing I will say is, for everyone, before you body shame, make judgment on anyone's weight or size, please, please, I can't say this enough, and I try to put this out there as much as I can with everybody, especially with children, because I do work with children. And children are, their brains are like sponges, and they copy what they see around them, right? So please try to explain to the youth that bullying is not cute. It's not cool, no matter how funny it may look. It does affect the kids growing up. They start feeling some type of way about themselves, and I don't like that. Pretty sure Nadine don't like it. I'm pretty sure everybody else here that's a parent or has a niece or nephew don't like it. We have to teach our children that it's okay to be different. It's okay to look different. You know what I mean? We don't have to fit into society standards of beautiful. I feel like we all carry something amazing that attracts, you know, great minds and brings the best out of us, right? Teach your children, and have your children understand that there's a lot of things, that affects us as a person. It's not just about, because Nadine has, I'm gonna use an example, Nadine, because Nadine may be better body shape than I am, like, don't make it seem like she's better than me. You know what I mean? Like there's this thing that we deal with in society as a whole. I don't like it, and it's something we a lot of us deal with it. I don't know if some of you guys agree, Nidhi. I don't know if you agree with me or you have witnessed that some people feel they're better than others because of the weight or the way they dress. It's just like a whole wild thing going on.
I think you touched on a very important point, um, because when you talked about children learn, children learn through learned behavior first, right?
Hmm.
And as we grow older, we have our experiences, and then we learn through our experiences. Our experiences shape us, and it's a very important point because you know what we see, what we visualize. The media does a good job of that. I think lately, they've been pretty cognitive, maybe because they've gotten some pushback, and they seem to um, have started to incorporate um, different size models. I mean, I think it started with some designers making. I remember curvy jeans. I think J Lo came out with her jeans to that extent, and you know, it starts with the people that are in the marketing, right? That are spoon feeding us this, that are conditioning us. As we sit in front of the television, we watch these commercials to make us think that this is what's appropriate, this is what society deems, acceptable, right? You know, and um, I want to take a step back and not necessarily get into the whole piece about the weight, but more or less the piece about the bully. And when you ask yourself, what's a bully? A bully is someone who uh, feels the need to have a power over another entity, and they do that by trying to minimize you. But they don't do it alone. Most of the time, you find bullies do it in a pack. They're like a pack of wolves. They have a group of people that they get together to bully, you know, whatever entity that they're targeting. And when I say take a step back, we want to understand, what's going on in that bully's mind. There's a level of insecurity, lack of confidence, a feeling of powerless, where they feel as though that they need to, round up a group of people, to bully this individual, or if they're doing it alone, they have an audience that's applauding them, right? Sometimes they do it in the classroom, or, they start at a very young age. But like Sonia said, you know, it's something that's learned, and it starts in the home. Whether they're watching parents, or they're watching, with interactions, dynamics with each other, whether they're watching, whether they're having interactions with other siblings, and the parents don't intervene. So it is something I think that starts at a very early age. Um, you know, it's not something that I ever recall, like in my childhood. Um, any kind of dynamic like that in the household. But when I was in society, because um, my family chose to raise us in the suburbs, so there are very few minorities at the time, and I want to say I was probably the only child, and I think the teachers really were sensitive to that, and so my protectors, believe it or not, were the teachers. They were always there to step in and cut that bullying out. And I thank them today because, I was by myself, you know, the only minority in a classroom. And I spent most of my life through education, um, K through 12, um, like that. I think when I got to high school, we had, you know, a little more diversity. But the bully is someone who really feels powerless and is looking to exercise power. And they do that by trying to identify something that society has taught them, that in their mind isn't right, and they target you, you know, with that you know with that bullying type of behavior. So, I think when we talk about body shaming, we always should be cognitive about, you know, the behavior as to why, how we come about to, people's body shaming. But I think society as a whole is starting to address that issue with marketing. You see you know, lots of models, different sizes. Gap, I think, has lined them up in one of their marketing pieces, where you have different type of sizes of women in underwear. So it's a way to kind of get us to recondition us to think differently. But yes, like MK2000 said, open communication with the kids is so important. Um, and you see here, she says that my parents are great and I had a great childhood, but wish they could have talked more about certain things. And I agree with that. Hi, Dr. Rev Shaman. But yeah, it's sometimes parents can't talk to us about those things because they don't have it. They haven't experienced it themselves. We can't ask people to give us something that they don't have. And, my parents were first generation immigrants. They immigrated to the country legally. And, but they were first generation. My dad did a phenomenal job. He did lots of reading, which really helped him. And he adapted into the society quite well. And they did a really good job with holding our culture within the household. But as I look back, in terms of the challenges, I say to myself, um, I forgive them because there's lots of things that they were not able to have a conversation with us about because they didn't experience it themselves or they weren't exposed to it themselves. You see, and I think it's up to us, second generation and on, to uh, to do the work, and not continue carrying on, some of that learned, behavior that we've seen in society, to make a difference and to learn, through reading, through seminars, through books, and to change that narrative, right? To teach our kids differently, and to not allow um, that behavior to perpetuate if we are in a particular circle. I'm gonna stop right there for a little bit. I'll let you talk, Sonia.
No, and I completely agree, Nadine. Like a lot of it does stem from home because we are our children's first teachers, and I think a lot of us forget about that. And we're the role models. This is the first people they see. When their eyes open, this is the first people they live with, when and learn from. And you're right. Like a lot of it has to do with a lot of these companies, industries, clothing lines. Um, who was it? I forgot this actress's name, and it hit me hard that what she did because Hollywood actresses. Let me say actresses because mostly the women. Like always, it's always on the women. Um, I don't know how many of you guys have seen the movie Pirates of the Caribbean. I have yet to watch it. Don't hate me. Don't hate me. Don't hate me. I'm a big fan of Johnny Depp, but I have yet to watch that film. There was a statement made by the actress. I don't know if it was Kira Knightley. I think that's the girl's name. I think I can't remember. Um, she made a very important statement, and I don't know if you guys have noticed. A lot of these actresses and models are photoshopped, right? They edit their photos, right? Because it has to look to perfection to attract more viewers, more people. So in one, they took a picture of her. I don't know who specifically. I don't know if it was the paparazzi or the directors. I don't know. There was a picture of her, right? And I guess they photoshopped her cleavage size, right, to make her breast look bigger. And she made a comment regarding that. She wanted it removed. She wanted the unedited version of that photo to be put out all over instead because she said, like, we have to learn how to accept ourselves in this physically, because what are we like showing to the youth today? Like it's okay to perceive things for what they're not. And and it's like it touched me because it's like we always got to use filters. Like me, I'm not gonna lie, I use filters at times, but it sounds like don't. But I like playing with filters. I love messing with filters at times. I'm not gonna lie. mostly because of my eyes. I like how my eyes come out. But however, I don't want to be rambling because times I do tend to do that. And Keira Knightley, like that message hit me because it's like, I kid you not, Nadine, I kid you not, everyone here. Why do we allow these things? You know, she put her foot down when it came to it. She said it. I don't want that picture up. Remove it. I want the unfiltered version of the photo, you know, because this is who I am as a person. What you're putting out there is doing what exactly? You know, you're posting like you're basically sharing a fake edited version, you know, and it's like, for what? Because it's unattractive to have small breasts. Like it really touched me, you know. And um sadly enough, it's like Hollywood is tough, you know, not on the females. Like I came across an article the other day regarding someone was told that they cannot get a role if they don't fit, they don't lose weight, right? Like you have to be at a certain weight if you're a female. Literally, you have to be a certain weight. Same thing with modeling. You have to meet their standards of, can you be a model? You have to be a certain height and weight. This all leads eventually to some people doing what? When I said self-harm earlier, I was thinking like they become bulimic, right? And anorexic. Why? Because for some, they see the easier way of losing the weight. For some, they see it like, oh, I've tried many diets, but it's not helping me lose the weight quick enough, you know. And it's a lot of psychological um stuff that goes into that. And hold on, I am 6'2", and usually on average about around 160. But my weight moves dramatically down on occasion. It is very strange. But Bennett accused of being a drug addiction all my life because of it. And this is what I mean: body shaming without having like absolutely no knowledge as to why this person is skinny. Having no knowledge as to why this person is not losing weight at all. It's always a health factor in the background. You know, it's all about learning, educating. Um, oops, sorry. Mental pulses. I don't do heavy drugs. I would puff my pot and it helps me eat. But people don't see me for who I am. I see you for who you are, MK. Don't say that. Oh, my husband just stepped in. I live in a very small town. And like that's one thing I don't like. You know, it's like Nadine said earlier, conditioned. And a lot of people don't understand what that word means. Like, if you have studied psychology, sociology, we learn these words and terms, you know, and it really opens our minds to understanding a lot of these things as to why it's happening. You know, it's just like Nadine said, she really never went to through that experience because her parents raised her and taught her, you know. Like I said, we as parents are our children's first teachers, you know, and everything else is second-handed. You know, what they see, what they do is from outside of home, but we have to be consistent. I'm sorry I skipped Jedi's comment, but not that I skipped it, but I read it. Jedi made a valid point, you know, that he nips it in the butt, you know, if the sons were to, you know, bully anybody, you know. See, it's things like that. And the children do things, society does things because we allow it, we accept it, and we tolerate it. And we have to do better as people to like end these things, bring these changes. And it's not gonna take one day, it's not gonna take 2 days, it's gonna take years and years to come, because it's already been conditioned into the system that you have to look a certain way. And I don't agree with it. Nadine is a beautiful woman. You know, look at her pretty photo, people. Like, look. Nadine is an amazing, and the brains on this woman, Nadine, I love it. I love it. Like you, I don't know if you're a parent, but listen, your brain, God bless you, sis, because listen, amazing individual. You know, I met her in Twitter, smart brains. I admire her a lot. You know, she's very transparent, honest, and there's a lot of stuff and things that I admire about Nadine. Oh, pop up.
Thank you so much. Well, My position is that I'm a sociologist by degree, so and I've had extensive um, psychology background.
Hmm.
So it's so I'm I like to let people know that when I'm talking about a particular subject, a lot of people say, well, how are you talking about finance? What do you know about finance? Well, I've had about 11 years in finance as well. And I'm a firm believer that where you go through an experience or you work at a job or you learn. There's always something that you take away from that, right? A lot of people learn a lot of things and they don't really want to share. A lot of people hold things in because they feel as though that makes them more powerful. I'm not sure. I'm not quite sure. I want to even understand the psychology behind that, but I'm someone that more or less whenever I can share my um, experience, whether or knowledge, so to speak. Um, I do that because I feel that is something that's how you empower people, right? You give people the tools. I always tell people when that are, because as a social worker, we put out fires. We don't have people that come to us and say, "Oh, life is great." They always come to you with some kind of problem, and like if you have a legal problem, you go to an attorney. You have a medical problem, you go to a doctor. When you have a social issue, whatever it may be, you come to a social worker, and they're looking for that solution. Um, but the work isn't easy because it's not something that society embraces, um, and because of that, we're always actually picking up the pieces when there's a catastrophe, right? The only time you may cross a social worker is when you're being discharged from the hospital and they come actually with the discharge paperwork to talk to you a little bit about some of the things that they want you to do at home, and based on the recommendations of the physician, and some follow up they may need you to do, and some appointments in terms of nurse or social services that may be needed in the home. But um, for the most part, society, it's not a profession that they they look up to like an engineer or doctor or a nurse. But as each day progresses, more and more uh, services from social services needed because hand in hand with mental health. You see now police departments are starting to have a team. My brother actually is in law enforcement, and the town that he works in says no, no, we have a mental health team that actually goes out with us on the 911 mental health calls, right? So more and more as society is dealing with stress, and um, there seems to be after the COVID episode, um, some mental health challenges, particularly with children. We are having to pay attention to that. And what's caught our attention is the behaviors. People behave differently. When you see somebody just walk out of a store and forget to hold the door, and then they stab the guy to death because he didn't say thank you, or there's certain things like that that just don't make sense. Where um, the human behavior is extreme, and more social services is needed. I always encourage people, to go to therapy as part of, because we wear many hats. We help with the social services, right? Whether it be housing, whether it be food, whether it be counseling, but you always want, to point that person to help themselves, because lots of times people end up in these types of catastrophic positions is because of poor decisions, and the decisions come from somewhere. They come from a lack of, um, you know, education, a lack of support, familial support, an upbringing that's, it's very difficult, that's left the person broken. So, they don't think the same way. They make different decisions differently. And so one of the things that I do after meeting that immediate need, whether, in terms of crisis, right? Um, is, the next step to say, well, I want you to make better decisions, because if you don't get that person to make better decisions, then they end up in the same boat. They end up right back where they started. And that's sometimes difficult to get that person to seek counseling, to help them, you know, see things for themselves. Take a look, counseling helps you look at yourself differently, helps you with, your story, and helps, plug the holes. And gives you some great exercise and tools, and something that actually can take up to a few years, a year to 3 years, you know. But it's a profession, I think, that's, you know, becoming more, in demand, and along with psychology, social, psychiatrist and whatnot. And I welcome it because if we don't get people to see it as something more mainstream, I think society's going to be in trouble. Um, People really have been acting crazy in the past year, year and a half. Driving cars at exorbitant speeds. There was a car that passed us on the highway one night, and we got off the highway, and then we got back on to go home, and I just couldn't believe it. You know, there were four university students in that car with the driver, and the car was in the tree bank. You know, I mean, you couldn't even recognize the car. But I never forgot the car whipping by me on that highway. So people are making these choices, you know, they just it just doesn't make sense. And so, I think it's important that we. That's why I'm really, um, you know, a big supporter of Sonia's channel, because she really has taken upon herself to talk about these social issues, no matter how difficult they may be. Um, I think they're important, and just to pretty much talk about them, in an open forum, in a sense of in a conversation, not necessarily um, therapeutic, on a professional level.
Wow, thank you, Nadine. Wow, four and the car was unrecognizable. Wow. Whew, wow. I'm a little speechless because I can't imagine what that might have been like to their family members and everything. Like, whew, I don't, I, I have a fear of driving, at least in New York City, because it's like, it's crazy. It's crazy. Reckless people driving. You could be the best driver in the world. However, you have to pay attention to the people driving around you because anything could happen. I don't know if lives were lost, but my condolences, and that's wow. I don't know. My voice keep doing that. I just got the flu shot a couple of days ago. I'm hoping I'm not getting sick from it either. But Nadine made valid points, like it's society. There's higher demands in um, social works, psychiatrists, therapists because of these things. And it's very few, and I'm not saying Nadine it's you. I'm just saying, speak in general. It's like a lot of people take it upon themselves to want to make a difference, right? That's their idea of wanting to make a difference. But then when they go for it, they're not really making a difference. It's like they're just seeing it all about themselves and being economically financially stable, as just like Nadine said, I've graduated in June with my associates in human services, which I'm very proud of. I'm not as a mom.
Congratulations.
Thank you. As a mom of two, um, going back to school after being out of school for years, it was like, I don't know how to say, but it was like, oh my gosh, like mind blown, because it's like the education system has changed as well. you know, in the time that I've not been in school. And but what I've seen that made me also go for human services was not only work with the kids I work with, is when I was going to school like in person before the pandemic hit us, I saw a lot of youth. I think was the youngest like 17 going on 18, and I was like in awe in a sense of like, wow, like I admire these kids fresh out of high school trying to go for what they want at a young age, wanting to make a difference, really really chasing their goals, and in one which I was a witness to, there was a cute little couple, right? um and I'm not gonna lie, at my age I did feel a little awkward because most of the students in my group was, you know 17, 18, 19, and I'm in my 30s already in that class, so I felt old, like old. That's how I felt. But I never felt so welcome in that group. But I've learned so much with them, Nadine and everyone else. Like, I never felt like, in a sense, um weird, in a sense. Only like by age wise, yes, but like physically, no, because I seen a lot of them, very like, how we go through the popularity contest in school, no matter the age and everything, we still kind of go through it even in the workplaces. But I never felt awkward. I felt very welcome with many. They looked up to me like a big sister. Like, oh my gosh, she's coming back to school. She's doing this for herself and her family, um, and for the world. Because we, Nadine, as college grads, and as women, and men who have studied human services and social services, you have to put yourself out there in ways that you never expected. Like, you have to, like, have gone through certain things yourself to understand what these kids are going through today. Um that's something, I don't know if Ray's watching, or he'll probably come across this eventually. There's something Ray mentioned today in his Twitter space. Like, you have to go through certain experiences to prepare you to how to help others, right? And it may not be for everyone. However, everything I've been through, everything Nadine has been through, everything you guys have been through have made you who you are today. you know and everybody here is amazing, despite if you're tall, short, big, skinny. Like, to me, I think all of you guys are amazing. You guys all have brought something, and I've learned so much from each one of you. Nadine's phenomenal. My husband he's my backup, and everything. He stalks me here and there, my Twitter spaces. He try to like video bomb me from time to time, which I be telling him not to do that, but then I can't say it because I do it to him too. I have DNA here, good support. MK, Bengal, such a beautiful woman, I tell you. Shaman, he be hiding behind, the sidelines. Jedi, he hides on the sidelines too, but amazing folks. My niece, I think she disappeared. She's probably listening. Um, also do it for them, my babies. Yeah, I think she left.
I wanted to mention two things, 2 points that you made. One about um, the um, the experience you had at university. There's a lot we can learn from Gen X, Gen Z. They're very competitive. That's one, and they're so much farther ahead than you and I because of technology. You know,
Yes.
technology has been is so much more advanced, and they actually utilize it, in the forefront. Like, if I take a class, I'm still going to bring my pen and paper. I will not bring my laptop to take notes. I mean, I was in a class. It was quite a while back, and everybody in the auditorium had their laptops. That's how they took notes, and I just didn't know how to do it. And while they're taking notes, they're on Facebook. You know, they're on different social media platforms, and I'm just like, I can't do it. But this generation is definitely much more competitive, and I have to say that they better watch out with Gen Z because I think we saw a little bit of it in the midterms. Like, they are no nonsense. They are not going to take crap.
Mhm.
They're much more sensitive, less rigid to some of the nonsense of the of the other generations, the older generations, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, there was another point you made that I wanted to talk. Oh, okay, about people helping people, right? Um, Not everybody who says they're going to help you are helping you.
Right.
When you meet someone, you always have to ask yourself, what is their intention?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people are in positions where they're acting like they're helping you, but they're actually coping with their own issues. Okay, they're filling a void. So a lot of times, I always say, people talk the talk, but you got to see how they walk the walk.
Amen, sis. Right there. Right
Right.
there. Not
Okay. Because it's not everyone who says that they're helping you are actually helping you. They're actually helping themselves. Whether it's they're having some challenges that they need to heal from. Because you get a lot of that. I don't want to get into the complexity of it, but you know, in terms of the childhood upbringing that they've had, however it may have been. Okay, so a lot of times people just don't want to deal with their own issues, and they think that helping someone out, it's a little bit of it's a coping mechanism in itself. You'd be surprised to hear that. So yeah, so whenever someone is helping, I can say I'm helping you because that's my profession. I can do it in my profession. I can do it outside of my profession. I have a lot of cases that I do pro bono, and if I say that I'm actually helping you, then that's what I'm doing. You know,
right.
um, because that's my line of work. But for someone, you know, where if that's not their line of work or they haven't had much experience in it, I'd be a little bit wary of that. So I just wanted to add that um, to to your point that you made earlier.
Thank you, Nadine. Um, as I do want to bring this up because I have to look for it myself. As I mentioned earlier about Kira Knightley, this happened in damn. I'm surprised I have a good memory in this one. It's been 2014. Yeah, it's been a couple of years. So I'm gonna read a little piece because since I need you some of you guys to understand. Where is it? So Keira Knightley is a British actress, right? So she spoke about how often her body gets manipulated for photo shoots or movie posters and intended to make a statement about her body shape and size with her latest shoot. Kira says she agreed to do top list shot as long as the magazine didn't make them any bigger or retouch. She feels it's important that the world knows and hears her say that it doesn't matter what size or shape you are. She also compared the female body to a battleground and said that the art of photography is par- partly to blame, right? And let me see. It's another piece I think I seen in this little article. Well, this is an important part here. I think it's great that Kira chose to not edit her body, but will this image make a difference? Will other stars follow suit? Will women of all shapes and sizes choose to do untouched photo shoots to reclaim how the female body is portrayed? Should they? What do you think? So,
I have a question for you. Who's behind the lens?
huh? I, I guess
Who's the photographer behind the lens?
for her, I don't know who it was,
It's just
but
a general question, though. Just
right
to
now
get
to me,
just to get us thinking, right?
yeah,
You see what I'm saying? That's part of the problem. Like, I think the human being is the most phenomenal thing on this earth. Are
most definitely.
right? Are we walking around thinking everybody looks the same? I think that's what makes us unique. That everyone is different. Everyone is shaped different. We look like our parents. Some of us look more like mom. Some of us look like dad. I look like both. Sometimes people like they're trying to figure out who I look like. They'll say, "Oh, you look more like mom," but people are like, "Oh my God, you look like both." Listen, I think we're fooling ourselves, right? To think that everyone has to look a certain way, or everyone has to be a certain size. We need to do better and teach everyone to love ourselves. We need to
Oh,
love ourselves more.
oh
We're
yeah.
looking for that acceptance. We need to be in a group. We need to be in a gang. I mean, I had the chance to be part of a sorority. I actually missed out when I decided to do it. I did. I am part of the a sorority fraternity family, the Sigma Doves, but I never felt like the necessity to be part of a clan, a group, a gang, you know? And I think that stems from knowing who you are, having self confidence. And I got that at an early age because my dad decided that he was going to send me to karate school. I had my first fight. I came home, I was crying. He was like, and I was raised with boys. And he's like, no, 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 no tears, my dear. And he sent me to karate school. And ever since then, I never looked back. Um, because there's something about being in karate school that gives you this level of self-esteem and self-confidence and knowing who you are. And through life, through your experiences, you learn about who you are, as you go through the stages of individuation, identity stages, young adulthood, through your experiences. And, you learn who you are. But society doesn't teach you to love yourself. Society teaches you that you've got to have the next best thing. You've got to have the Maybach. Listen, if you want to drop one in my garage, I don't mind. But you got to keep up with the Joneses. You got to have you know these best these designer clothes. Society
Oh,
doesn't teach you to love yourself. Society teaches you to love materialistic things.
listen, I'm gonna be the first one to say. See, Nadine mentioned something that I'm gonna mention it right now because I was thinking about it the other day. Like I was literally in the mirror, just thinking to myself, should I like say it or not? But I'm like, now that Nadine kind of touched it, I'm gonna say it. Nadine made a very, very important statement regarding what society wants us to do, which is to keep up with the latest wardrobe and all these things, right? Let me tell y'all something. Yes, I have a job, but guess what? I'm gonna probably say it here. I buy my clothes. Guess from where? I don't buy no expensive $400 shirts or like $120, this and that. Like if you could afford it, good for you. If, that's your thing, good for you. But me, I'm a very simple, basic female. Like I love how I'm able to like not because I'm a mom, but I like budgeting, right? We're living in a very like expensive like society, economy and everything. So, you know, personally me, I shop from Rainbow Shops in New York City. I shop from Fashion Nova. Here and there, I shop from Walmart. I have no shame. It's about how you wear it, in that sense. And guess what? I be rocking my outfits. I don't um go like proving to the next person like, oh, you like my jacket, I paid $800 for it. You like my Tims, I paid $300 for it. You like my socks cost me $50. No, like I get my socks from where?
Sonia, do that again when you just open the sweater.
A cardigan. Listen, this, let me tell y'all something. This cardigan came with a dress and I got it from Fashion Nova. I couldn't find the dress. I don't know where the dress is at, to be honest, but
You know what? This business about where people are going to work and spending all this money in
listen.
in designer clothes and stuff. I think just starting. We're on the cusp where someone is saying, "Hey, why don't you go put out your own label, your own design?" We're starting to see that with Instagram. You know, with COVID, that gave us some time to sit at home and think, to design our own products. I think NFTs that are giving IP rights, they're saying, go put your own product out. Go make your own money. Why are you gonna make somebody else rich? Right?
Oh my god. I don't think he read that. I don't know if he's gonna read it. MK, shh. Nah. No, you're absolutely right. And I have a friend. She got into her own little side business because of the pandemic. Everybody was stuck at home, bored and depressed and miserable because we couldn't do anything other than stay home. And a lot of my friends started doing side hustles, right? They started doing hair, right? They started doing customized shirts, stuff like that, mugs, stuff like that. Another one came out with her own business regarding was it foods? She started cooking foods. She could cook. And it's like, for some of you might get me wrong in this, but I feel like certain things happen to really bring out more, like, what we're really capable of doing. It's because we limit ourselves, and look what this pandemic did in that sense.
You notice how there's a group that didn't want us to stay home because they know that when we sat home too long, that we had the time to think, that we weren't tired, we're not hustling and busting the 9 to 5, that they were going to lose a group of people from the society. I don't want to get away too far away from the subject, but it's like we reclaimed our power, you know, and we're the ones making the decisions. Somebody else isn't making the decision for you, right? To telling you, you're coming home tired and you plop in front of the couch and you're watching this commercial. They're telling you, go buy this, go buy this Louis Vuitton. You know, people had the time to sit at home and really think things through in terms of, hey, you know what? I can be an entrepreneur. I could, you know, exactly, and you start to regain that control. And there was a group that really didn't want that. They didn't want you to stay home, and it was for that reason, because you saw a lot of people didn't go back to work. They started up their own businesses. They're going to be the ones that change the narrative. I
Yep.
don't want to get away from the subject too much, but yeah.
Girl, listen, my channel, I could talk about body shame and go into different topics and still come back. I always do that literally on my episodes. I don't know if you noticed, I go back and forth with certain topics. And I love that because it's so free. Like, I love having free discussions, open discussions about anything and everything, you know. And you're right. This is how they want to change the narrative. They see it like, oh, they start making their own business. They're not gonna rely on us anymore, you know. And it sucks, to
but
be
but
honest.
we empower ourselves, and then we change the narrative, so therefore they don't hold that control. We hit that, this becomes a shift in balance, and we end up having some of that control to control that narrative. So now it's, your child doesn't see you get up and go work from someone else. Your child sees you get up and work for yourself in the household. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All of that is matters.
Oh yeah, and the ones who feel threatened by it's always the big corporations. Always, it's like Shaman said, it's the big corporations that like controlling the media, the most watching all the music on the radio. That's where they get the idea that they need the latest and greatest everything. And MK raises his wife up. He's listen. We need more of you men like that because a lot of women don't get it. But yeah, like I feel like a lot of blessings come in disguise as far as like when things go wrong. You know what I mean? Like sometimes things go wrong. You don't understand why things are going wrong, but within that, what's going wrong, something positive comes out from it. It's all about how you see it and what you learn
An
from it.
opportunity, yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
maybe
it presents an opportunity. With every catastrophe, there's an opportunity.
Nadine, I'm sorry to interrupt. Can you hold it down for like a minute or two? I'll be right back.
Sure. Yeah.
So follow.
I'm going to talk about a little bit about, we're going to go back to the weight and
Okay.
how, weight is a little bit different. You know, weight gain doesn't necessarily mean that it's not a direct correlation to food. And so, a lot of times, people are body shaming, and just visually they see someone with a lot of weight. Um, Weight gain can be a thyroid problem, right? Where the thyroid levels are out of whack, and the person gains weight from that. Weight gain could be something that's hereditary, where in the family, it's something that, if you look at the family, the generation, they tend to carry weight. In my family, there isn't really anyone that, that carries a lot of weight. It's just not something that's in our genes. Um, Also, there are some people that are big boned, that are just really big people. Like they are never going to be thin, you know. So it really boils down to, and some, you know, sometimes in addition to the um, thyroid issue, could be other medical issues that result in the weight gain. So I think we really have to be careful when we see people. To just a lot of times we see someone who's really really big and we say, oh, you know, that person really should stop eating. You know, it could be depression. You know, people having challenges with depression and they eat a lot. Um, you know, depression comes in many levels. It could be actually to a level where people don't move the body enough. Um, you know, their whole outlook on life changes when you're suffering from depression. You see life differently. You see actually life from a negative perspective most of the time. I've worked with several individuals with depression. I worked in group homes for men. I've worked one on one with clients. You know, and it comes, you know, in many levels. You have people that are working amongst us in the society that have challenges with depression. They go to work every day, and some people with that are medicated. Some people choose, okay, well, medication isn't for me. I'm just going to try to exercise because exercise does the same thing, increases the serotonin level, um, you know, to help with that. But, you know, when we see someone who is obese by medical terms, or, you know, with significant weight, you know, we shouldn't run and be quick to judge. Um, you know, I always encourage people that diet and exercise is important. Um, Let me see. Desan says that's a fact. Sometimes we have to find value in negative outcomes as that positive gem is waiting to be found in those moments. Yes. Um, you know, I always encourage people to have balanced diet and to exercise, meaning to walk. And you don't necessarily have to go to the gym if the gym isn't for you. But um, I think one of the things that we also have to be cognitive about is that we come from different backgrounds, different um, cultures, and the gastronomy in culture, some cultures, is not conducive to the body. There's some cultures that just eat way too much rice, way too many carbs, um, you know, and that may work, you know, if you're in a different environment. But when you are here in the US, and you're getting in your car and you're not, you know, you're not leaving your house by foot, you don't really burn off those carbs, you know. So really diet based on cultural upbringing is a factor, you know, depending on what we eat. There are some gastronomy that is just not healthy. And I try to take the good and I leave the bad, you know. There's some cultures where they use a lot of fried food, you know, and um, when you have education and you say, okay, I'm going to go to the doctor every year, and you know, you do your cholesterol, you know, you check your blood pressure. You learn to eat much more healthier in terms of choice, right? You know, you still eat, you know, the foods that are within your culture, but um, you know, you try to eat some different foods that are a lot more healthier for the body. And I'm not talking about weight gain here. I'm just talking about eat overall healthiness, you know. But getting back to, you know, seeing somebody with weight gain, we shouldn't be quick to run and to criticize or judge because we don't know what that person is dealing with. Is it a thyroid issue? Is it depression? Is it just genetics? Simple genetics. You know, is it you know, you know, the fact that the person has weight that they can't. Sometimes it's pregnancy. How about that? Let's talk about the woman's body. You know, the woman's body is phenomenal. And guys, I'm gonna have you have take a seat because I know you guys will say, "Oh, you know, children are born and you know, they don't come about without us." But it's the woman's body that carries the child. for 9 months, that nurtures it, that changes, and that has to go back to normal, right? When I say back to normal, meaning in a non-pregnancy mode. Sometimes, this whole thing about what I saw going on Instagram, the snapback, give me a break. Oh, in 2 weeks, I snap back. That is terrible. And shame on those celebrities that were doing that, because not everybody, based on hormonal levels, can snap back. You know, it's just so unfortunate to see. Not everybody's body is the same, and pregnancy is such a powerful phenomenon, to give birth, to give life. That woman's body changes, you know. I mean, men have no idea, the hormonal. I mean, we have this postpartum depression that
Ooh.
nobody talks about.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen some women take all four children, all the children, just go dump them in the ocean. Postpartum depression, guys. Some husbands are aware of it, some are not.
Mm-hmm.
So we really have to just cool it, when it comes to the body shaming, because people have struggles, whether it be after pregnancy, whether it be depression, whether it be thyroid issues, whether it be just simple genetics. We really don't know what people are going through. And I always say, if you can't say anything kind, don't say anything at all. Lots of the times we want to know something, it's better just to ask the question. It's always good, if you want to learn, but making those accusatory statements, judging people when you don't have all the facts, it really is a misstep, and um, it's it really says a lot about the individual, not necessarily about the person. And like I say, if you can't help someone with something, or with an issue, then don't don't get involved. I see people that have bad behavior, and you know privately I may say something, but publicly I will not, because I've recognized that that person is struggling with something. I actually can see it sometimes, but it's not my place. If that person doesn't come help ask me for help, it is not my place to say something. you know Lots of times, if you listen, you people tell on themselves. They tell you who they are, and if you listen close enough, they'll even tell you what they're struggling with.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know I love meeting new people. I love the human being. It's what I've studied. I studied, it's a study of people and their environment. I can tell you a lot about your environment. You know, your environment. We are a product of our environment. Like Sonia was saying, in the urban areas, they don't have good supermarkets. You know, if I'm looking for a Whole Food, it's in the suburbs.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, they've done a lot with that in terms of providing through SNAP, which is the food program, vouchers for fresh vegetables and fruits. It's a program. I've seen it where you can go and pick up those, because they don't offer them in these type of supermarkets. I I've gone into the supermarkets, and I'm like, I don't understand the chicken. Why is the chicken so big? You know,
Hormones, chemicals.
exactly. And so, where you have this um, socioeconomic class that is living um, in an area that may not have a vehicle, and they can't go far, right? And this is what they've brought into them. This conversation is being had, you know, and that's why you see the farmers markets on some days, on Mondays and Wednesdays. They'll come and have farmers markets, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because that conversation was, because it ties to health as well at a very young age. You know, if you look at my kindergarten, first grade pictures, and you compare it to kindergarten and first grade pictures today, you're wondering yourself, how come everybody back then was so skinny?
Right.
There was less hormones in our food, right? Can we all afford organic food? No, it is through the roof. It doesn't even last more than a week. If I go shopping in Whole Food, I better eat it within 5 days. But it's very expensive, you know, and so we really have some challenges that is a direct contribution to some of the health outcomes that we have today, that may be part of some illnesses that we're struggling with, and or weight excessive weight gain that we don't have control of because it's part of our food. You know, so there's so many dynamics to someone having weight gain. We would just have to be really careful about pointing that finger, um, and let's do better and not be, we're not here to judge. I think, for me, I always say God is the only one that can judge. you know Everybody is here on this earth rolling around at some point sins, so we're really not in that position. Yeah, so true. When I was 11, I was so skinny and flat, and today, 11 years, I have adult body, and that really presents a challenge too for men. Like, you guys got to be careful. You better ask to see some ID, because these
Oh,
girls,
you know
they
what?
are already in like a woman's body. I
Listen.
Be careful.
Whew, that,
All of that is
ooh, the
is it.
weight.
It's all good to talk about. Yeah. Go
Listen,
ahead, Sonia. The mic's yours.
is just wow. Like, see, this is why I love Nadine. Like, you see how she holds it down. Great minds think alike. I do want to piggyback off what you said about the woman's body going through its physical changes because of pregnancy. Um, there has been some cases because some women haven't lost the baby weight due to the pregnancy and the hormones and all that. Some men unfortunately have abandoned the woman because of it or cheated on her just because she went through these physical changes of carrying this man's child and he had the audacity to do what he did, and I don't condone stuff like that. I don't like it. I feel like, if anything, you should praise her more because she put her body, her and herself at risk, because pregnancy, you technically go through physical risk. You never know what's going to happen during your pregnancy. I'm a walking testimony on that. And it's not like you don't know what she was going to go through during her pregnancy because your mom gave birth to you. And and it's like I always said, sadly, women go through the most. And I need everybody here to understand and pass this message along for men who have sisters, for men who were raised by their mothers, for men who have a female that they love and really care about, whether it's a friend, a cousin, a sister. Like I said, please, please appreciate them for who they are and not the way they look physically, because we all going through physical changes. We are aging here, guys. We're getting gray hairs already. I got little gray hairs in my head. I got a few. Well, I don't have wrinkles, but I get the point. Like, we're going through physical changes, and this is something that people are in denial of. Our bodies are going to continue to change as we age, and I feel like a lot of us forget about that. We need to appreciate, each other more in a psychological sense, rather than physical appearance. Um, like, I still have, well, I have my fupa, and it only got a little worse because I do have anxiety here and there. So there's times I do overeat, but not a lot. But there's times I get triggers, and then yeah, I do my little overeating. Which I'm working on. That's not the easiest thing because of my hormones. Because hormones is, in a sense, is what affects our weight. In case a lot of people didn't know that, it's all about knowing your medical history and such. Talk about it. The aftermath of the pregnancy is saying I need the fupa out the way. Listen, I like my fupa. Some men do that a lot and get married, have kids, and once their wives no longer look the same, they look elsewhere. Yes. DNA. We need to start comparing each other with what we see on social media or how someone else got a banging body even after pregnancy. And see, that's another thing I will also like to address. I did kind of bring it up in my last episode, is the fact that we think what we see online is reality. These are a lot of false narratives being played through social media, through music videos, through pictures that we see on Twitter, TikTok, what else? Instagram. I wouldn't really say Facebook, but social media, right? A lot of women are saying, "Oh, I got this body, boom." But if we want to be realistically speaking, a lot of them did surgery just because, you know, they,
Wepa. I'm so glad you're bringing up that.
because
We're really gonna have a real conversation today with that butt surgery and breast surgery. Let's go.
listen,
Let's go. Let's go.
let's go. I'm here for it. Okay, so I'm not trying to body shame. I'm just bringing out facts. A lot of women have paid thousands of dollars to get their bodies physically changed because not only do they want to fit society standards of beauty, is because also men, I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to throw you a little bit under the bus. Not all men, but men makes us feel in a way like if we don't look like Khloe Kardashian, Kim Kardashian, Cardi B, Meg The Stallion, we're not good enough. We're not pretty enough. So, like I said, it affects us psychologically. We function on emotions, right? And is it fair? No. Is it worth it? No. Because what are we teaching our daughters that they cannot accept themselves as they develop during puberty, right? They're always being like, Mommy, why is my boobs not fully developed yet? But yet my friend's boobs is a double D and I'm still like a half an A cup or an A. You know what I mean? So once they hit a certain age, what do they want to do? They start researching. What do I gotta do, or where do I gotta go? How much I gotta pay to get breast implants or lipo, or stuff like that. They literally start looking into these things. And I had a few coworkers that were like always playing around about, oh, I'm gonna get me a BBL. A lot of these things have risk factors, guys. A lot of women have died on these operating tables because they weren't happy with themselves, because society says if you're plus size,
Woo.
this that amount, I'm sorry, you're not beautiful. You're not good enough. There was a 15-year-old, I don't know, we're in 2022. I think this happened around between 2017 and 2019. There was a case, right, of two young girls, teenage girls, young women, basically. I guess one of them didn't feel happy about the way her body looks, right? So, as always, people go outside the US to do these things, right? Because it's cheaper for them. And, her friend, she said, I'm going to get my body done, right? Her friend went to accompany her, for support. What happened? The minute she hit that table, that was the end of it. She lost her life. For what? I said this last time. Let me catch up with the comments. My husband, I did tell him at one point, oh, if I reach a certain age and I'm not at a certain weight, I'm gonna get lipo. I used to say that a lot. I'm not gonna lie, right? And it took a lot for me to accept that my body is different no matter how anybody else sees it. Yes, I have cellulite. Nobody will ever know, like really see it, because I don't put my legs out there, right? But there's a misconception of cellulite as well. Cellulite is uneven fat in the body, and no, it cannot be how you call it. There's no way of getting rid of cellulite. That's it. I've been having it since I was 13. I'm 36 now. I've been living with it, dealing with it. Boom. So what I do is I just wear shorts up to my knees. Boom. And it's something like we all have physical flaws in some shape or form in the eyes of others, right? But does that make me less of a human being? No. Does that make me this just makes me humble myself in ways that I understand how much flaws there is in the world within people, and it makes me understand that we are not perfect. We were not born to be perfect. So we have to stop allowing this false narrative to say, if you don't look this way, you don't talk this way, you don't dress this way, you aren't enough. You are enough. You are enough. You are beautiful. You are smart. Men, you guys are handsome. you know I know a lot of you guys want to go to the gym and hit it hard, and I give you props. Get these muscles, these biceps, triceps, all these things, abs. you know I
Don't
like I
forget the
like
legs. Tell them don't forget the
oh,
legs.
listen. Okay, don't ever do it with the legs though, because sometimes they're a little
You
scary,
can't
guys.
be top heavy and not do the
What's
legs.
that thing?
I used to lift weights. You got to do both upper and lower body.
But they what's that thing on the shoulder? Like when they start developing like that little weird
Shoulder,
hump.
shoulder, neck, shoulder, head, shoulder,
Listen,
neck,
I
head,
don't know
head,
what it
head,
is.
head, shoulder.
That looks creepy to me. I don't know why. Like a little bit of it is okay, but like some men overly work out, like those big, heavy, hard bodybuilders, they do it so much that it's just weird. But it's stuff like that. Like I need everybody to really fully accept themselves. And men, if you have, because I went off on this one. If you're not a father to a daughter, a female, right? You still have to teach your sons to appreciate the female's body for what it is. Yes, they're gonna date. Yes, they're gonna go based on well, I wonder what my boys are gonna think, because sometimes people date just to see what others their friends are gonna say, right? Oh, he could bag any chick, she could bag any guy, whatever, etc., etc. It's all about who are you really trying to please here? Like, I thought you was dating this person because you're really interested in them, right? But no, you're dating them to prove a point to your friends that you got game. And it's not about that, because right there, you're playing with somebody's emotions. And that's a dangerous game to play, by the way. Let me tell y'all. Let's get to that. Very dangerous game. Um, I'm allergic to butts. I'm not gonna want to do my body too after pregnancy. I don't feel comfortable wearing dresses anymore. They got the broad leg neck. But yeah, like it's a lot. Like I think like all these false narratives is what's getting these young females and to go about body change in a very dangerous way. A lot of lives were lost because of it.
Yeah, it's very pervasive. I've seen quite a bit of, there is a Jamaican artist, I think, that's fighting for her life right now in a hospital. She went over to Santo Domingo. They need to arrest those doctors over there. I don't know. Everybody goes over there because, maybe there's not that many regulations in place. But you know, people are so desperate. They just go wherever. They just want to get it done, or sometimes the price point isn't where it needs to be. Many women have lost their lives over, trying to fit the society standards of what is being projected as what beauty is. And I think it's so sad. And I think, um, like someone said earlier, we really need to have conversation with the children.
Mm-hmm.
It needs to be a continuous conversation. You need to observe, you know, what they're doing on the media. Social media is a big tool that they're involved in. Parents who may not be involved in social media need to get with it, okay, and stop talking about it like it's something negative. I think it needs to be balanced. Like a child shouldn't be on social media all day long. You know, there's time to do your chores. Do your homework, um, read a book, and be on social media. I think the parents are responsible to set those standards, um, and then also to have some kind of parental guidance to make sure that the kids are not getting into areas that are going to be permanently could be permanently destructive to that child while they're growing up at such a tender age. So because you know we're moving forward, right? We're not going backwards, and technology is really becoming intertwined in our daily use in life, more and more, right? We can't even leave home without it. We do everything on it, even banking. Teller says you don't need to come to the bank. You can take a picture of the check and deposit it. So we really have to pay attention to what um, these kids are absorbing via social media, um, because I don't. That could be anybody's daughter, right? You know, that's a loss of life, and it's so sad to hear that that's something of that nature that brought that brought death upon that person like that. So I don't think we should say, oh, I can't believe it. The person died on the table. They went in for BBL, and then that's it, and we move on. I mean, this is like alarm bells should be sounding.
Mm-hmm.
This is a big deal, where young girls are dying under the knife. I will not go under the knife to fix any part of my body because I think there's nothing that needs to be fixed. You know what I'm saying? This notion that you've got to fix part of your body is crazy. You know, um, accept yourself the way God has created you. Um, if you don't have big breasts, then you don't have big breasts. If I mean, and there are breast reductions which are necessary that give back issues, so that I'm for. There's some women that have some serious back issues, and that's a medical condition that insurance will pay for, and you will be under medical guidance. But for cosmetic choices, you know,
Big no, guy, ladies and
yeah,
gents.
it
Big
started.
no.
I started with the face, the nose, and now it's and then it was the breast, right? And then there was a scare with the silicone breast. Remember, giving
Oh yeah.
cancer, leaking and giving cancer, and now it's the butt. I'm like, come on, guys. You want to construct your whole body. So we got a lot of work to do. And we're having this conversation today. It's a start, but I hope that everybody here takes that conversation elsewhere. Thanksgiving dinner table, with your child one on one.
I
Yeah,
don't, I don't
we got.
believe in diets on holidays, Nadine.
Say it again.
I I don't believe in diets during the holidays. I mean,
No,
eating
no,
my
no. I'm not
life
saying
away.
diet. I'm saying the conversation. No,
No, most definitely
yeah.
spread the
No, I'm
awareness.
talking about the conversation. Yeah, because it needs to be more mainstream. It
Mm,
can't be taboo. Like sometimes we're so scared to talk about the most important things, right? We don't want to face them, but we have to, or we don't want to face it until it strikes us personally. I mean, why is no one talking about opiate overdose? It is ravaging lives. I know two people. I don't know them directly, but I know two people that have lost loved ones to opiate crisis. Right? People are dropping dead every day. We have stopped talking about that. And it needs to be one and the same, particularly where that doctors are sounding the alarm, psychologists are sounding the alarm about children suffering from depression after this whole COVID scenario. So we should really be paying attention to that stuff. All of those are social issues that affect the children and families and our lives. You know, it's a good conversation.
oh yeah, I like how Nadine always brings out the points, and this is why I invited her because me and her think alike in so many ways. We are trying to bring awareness as best as we can out there because a lot of things are happening and it's not being spoken about, unfortunately, or it's not being talked about enough. Um, and I feel like a lot of people get distracted through social media, because they don't want to face certain realities, and it's okay. We all are scared of something. It's just how we go about it, right? And also the environment we're in, who has our backs, right? Do we have a good mom and dad we can lean back to when certain things go wrong? Do we have our partner who we can lean on regarding what's bothering us? It all goes back to the environment we're in, right? I also wanted to bring back, kind of piggyback from this one earlier when Nadine was talking about the foods, right? When we were all kindergartners, you know, back in the 80s and 90s, we were all skinny. We were all little models, right? We were little, babies in a sense. And it's like, I've seen kindergartners, um, sadly to say, like I've seen some kindergartners looking like they're in second grade, and I'm like, they're in kindergarten, And it's the foods. We want to eat healthy, but how do we go about eating healthy when it's so hard to obtain certain foods that hasn't been fully modified by chemicals and hormones? It's very difficult, especially in the urban area. They want us to travel to a different state at times to obtain certain things. New York had a Walmart. It got shut down years ago, right? And now if you want to go to Walmart, you got to go all the way to Jersey, right? You literally got to go to Jersey. And what it
No,
comes
there's a Walmart over at um Green Bay.
that's probably way
That's
further.
Like Long Island.
Yeah, definitely far from me.
Yeah,
You know,
it's a little ways. Excuse me, not Long Island, Valley Stream. Yeah, Long Island Valley Stream, I
to be
think.
honest.
Yeah, Green Bay Mall. There's one in there.
Okay, so
Yeah,
um,
that's the closest.
eesh. But the thing is like it comes with a cost. Paying the tolls for those who drive. The tolls is a little expensive. Um, then there's gas. Gas is going up. You know, um, and you gotta pay double toll because on the way back you pay it again. Gas. Um, I do like Walmart. I don't know how many of you guys shop at Walmart. I love Walmart for many things. I feel like the food is more affordable. However, like I said, everything is always like a balance, right? Like I go here, I save more money as far as food. However, gas and toll fees, right? Um, the supermarkets, I don't want to touch on this right now, but I'm gonna do it.
That was a pretty very good important point. You just have to find a small supermarket that's pretty affordable. Like in Boston, it was Market Basket, and they did really good. It was their family supermarket. They're actually opening newer chains. But in New York, you're so right about that because if you travel the distance, you know, you end up paying you know money and gas, and some people can't even travel. They don't have cars. They have to go by bus. So then it isn't as easy. You'd have to bring a carriage. You know what I'm saying? So there are challenges to that. So yeah, you're right. Like where you live really matters. Like the urban development. I think they're trying to do things differently now. But back in the day, the urban planning and urban development um, really didn't benefit, the minority community. And so I think they're taking a second look at it because it, it's an impact. It does. I think they're finding that it impacts not just the people that live in the community, but the taxpayer overall. Because when you have a community that's sicker because you didn't do right by them to put in healthy foods and good supermarkets, then everybody pays for it. Because then you have a whole, you know, you have generations of people that are sick. And so it really taxes on everybody else in terms of the taxes and whatnot, medically wise. So, yeah.
Most definitely. Unfortunately, there's always a price to pay when it comes to things. Sometimes it's a good price, it comes at a good price. Sometimes it doesn't, depending on the person, where they live. It's a lot. And that's something we all got to consider as human beings and individuals, especially families. How are we willing to pay the price, right? As far as like how do you say, eating healthy, like what comes from eating healthy? Weight loss, right? Also helping build your immune system, right? Because a lot of us get sick because we're not eating the right foods too, in as far as minerals and vitamins. Naturally, you know, there's one thing I would like to say that I have considered, but I kind of cancel it out. There was one point, Nadine. I don't know if you know much about it. I was considering last year, I believe, sometime last year, of doing the bariatric surgery, right? Because my weight. I do qualify for it. My insurance does cover it. However, um, I feel like until I'm not at a point, hopefully I don't get to that point where I really need it. I don't. I'm honestly scared of these type of surgeries in whatever way you see it. You know, I'm scared of any surgery. You know, like I just have a fear of it since I was a kid because I had my first surgery when I was like 2 or 5, not 2, like 5 or 7 years old. So in that sense, it's like I've always had a fear of getting surgery and being in the hospital. That's always been me, and I'm sorry about that pop up sound. Um, hold on. So it's like there's a lot of things that I feel like because I'm still young, I'm still 36, I still am able to naturally lose the weight. And I really try continue to do that rather than put myself under the knife, whether it's through professional medical doctors, because you know, let's be real here.
Sonia,
Real here.
you know
Like
what? Sonia, I want to say something.
go ahead.
Because you're talking about your personal experience. So, um, I find that if we focus too much on the weight, that, you know, I always tell people, you know, because I think sometimes you really have to focus on other things, like not so much on the weight, right? Um, Focus on some exercise, focus on some balanced meals. It's not just about healthy meals, it's about balanced meals, like portion. Like, I love to eat, I ain't gonna lie. But, as the older you get, you gotta watch the portions. And I could throw down, but I've had to kind of pull back a little bit. You know what I'm saying? And those two things hand in hand, without even worrying about the weight. Because when I work out, I don't ever even worry about. I never get on a scale. I don't really look at the weight. Um, I think that we just have to focus on things that are important, like our priorities, our responsibilities, and then like not making excuses like, okay, I'm gonna try to fit this in my schedule. I'm gonna do it for me. And you go exercise, and it's just a release. You get away from the family for a little bit, and you go, you know, just give yourself, give back to yourself, and just work out for an hour, hour and a half, and come back. It doesn't have to be about the weight. It's me. It's just about Sonya having some me time, going to work out. I mean, and that's it. And then you come home and you make a meal. When you work out, actually, I find that I just tend to crave healthier stuff. Yeah. When I work out, I don't even want to look at McDonald's and Burger King. Yeah, I eat there. I do. But, I think sometimes we just put too much focus on the weight. And, I think we just have to focus on what's important, like family and our significant others, and ourselves, giving back to ourselves. And, as long as you do the work, in terms of making it part of the plan, right? If you got kids, right, you're gonna send them off to school. You got to you plan to get up and and make breakfast and get them ready, right? So the same thing, you put it inside that plan for the day, that I'm going to get in an hour workout. It doesn't have to be every day. It can be like 2 times a week, 3 times a week. You end up feeling better, and it's all about habits, good habits, waking up on time, waking up early, you know, um, going to bed, getting some good sleep. That's important too. When we don't sleep, sleep patterns off, it really throws everything off. But yeah, I hear people always talking about the weight, and I personally, I don't like it. I always say, let's focus on other things. Make a plan, focus on things that are important, your priorities, your responsibilities, and doing things for you. Like, you say, okay, I'm going to go to the spa twice a month. Get my toes done, my fingernails done, get my hair done. Um, right? And then once a month, maybe I'll go get a massage. And then twice a week, I'm going to go um, to the gym. Like, just do it. because everybody's gonna be like me, 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 me. The kids are gonna be like me, 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 mommy, 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 right? And they'll never give you the time of day. you know, Family's like, oh, I need you, right? So for me, that is my best recommendation. I don't like to tell people what to do, but I always say try not to focus on the weight when we talk about weight, because there are other factors. It's not necessarily just about food. You could just be having a bad day or a bad week, or you could be dealing with some loss, or it could be a medical condition, right? But if you keep those particular things like in place, a plan, with some good habits, 30 minutes before bedtime, you do some reading of your favorite book. You get a favorite, go pick out a book and say, I'm going to read this novel. But you're not going to be able to get through it all because there's so much going on. But you have it by the bedside and you probably just do 30 minutes of reading before you go to bed. Just putting in some good habits. Um, and then, you start to think different, and you do things different. And sometimes the weight will come off before you know it without you even realizing it. Um, if you're looking at more targeted type of results, then you can get a personal trainer, right? That's really going to put you through the ringer. You could put some money out for that. Some people say, "Oh, I'm going to get married. I want to look good in the dress." Okay, you could try it that way, or you could do it yourself if you know what you're doing. But I say don't worry so much about the weight. That's my recommendation. Just love yourself and just put a plan in place, just like you do for some other things in your life. That's my best advice.
No, and I honestly agree with you, but the thing is, I don't just look at the weight because of that. I also look at the weight because of the medical history in the family. Um, diabetes from on both sides, mine's and in my husband's side. So, this is one thing I tell everybody: as whether you're in shape or not, I tell everybody watch what you eat regardless, because you never know as you age. Like I said, we go through physical changes as we're aging. You never know what how this change could affect um you. Like you could develop diabetes out of nowhere, right? Out of nowhere, you could be in the healthiest weight, but you still develop diabetes. What's your medical history as regarding family, right? Um, or do you know anything about your medical history? I know it because a good like 80% of my family has diabetes. I lost an uncle to diabetes. I already lost two family members within 15 years. Not the easiest thing. So it makes me more cautious because of my weight. Because yes, you could kind of get diabetes. I think this thing is lagging a bit. Um, you can get diabetes due to your weight. That yes, gestational diabetes through pregnancy.
Type
I'm,
type
I'm-
type 2 diabetes, what they call it.
oh my goodness. I don't know if I'm lagging on your end. I see like I kind of freeze a little bit.
No, I can see you. Yeah,
Okay.
they call it type 2 diabetes, and it's actually pretty prevalent in the children. The children, there are lots of children that are overeating. Whew. I'm just like, when I see it, I get so frustrated and upset because the children are not in control. The parents are, and I think they should do better. But you're absolutely right. With diabetes, it is about what you eat, and I've had it in my family. Uh, I think two or three members, and if it's something that you have to manage it, and if you don't manage it, it manages you. And what I mean by it manages you is that you will start to lose limbs, eyeballs, things like that.
Oh,
But if you just keep, yeah,
don't
if you
mention
just
the
keep,
eyeballs.
you will, no, you start to lose body parts.
No, I know, I know. But
Yeah.
the reason I said don't mention that is because my
Oh, I'm
uncle,
sorry,
may he
but
rest in peace. Like he played a little prank on me years ago. This was I think the last time I went over his house. Um, and I mean he scared the crap out of me, Nadine. Like he scared the crap out of me. He tells me like, "Oh, can you get me something from the bathroom?" I'm like, "Okay, what is it that you need?" And he was like, "It was like a little like case thing," and I'm like, "Okay, I know it wasn't a case or whatever." And he was like, "Thank you, you're so sweet. Thank you for helping me." I was like, "No problem. You're my uncle. Whatever I can do to help." When he told me to open it, what I saw, Nadine, my goodness, it was a glass eye. Whew. Let me tell you, I never been freaked out in my life.
Oh my goodness.
And he was laughing about it. Like he found it so hilarious the fact that I freaked out. He's
Hmm.
like, "Why you freaked out for?" I'm like, "I didn't even know you had a glass eye." Like it just scared the crap out of me seeing like a round little ball, and I'm just like, "Oh no, no, no!" Like this, and it is like one of the funniest things ever in a sense because I'm like, yeah, like you're right. We get glaucoma through diabetes. We lose our limbs, fingers,
Yep.
legs. So, guys, please, if you
And it's easy. All you have to do is manage the food, and
manage the
with
food,
30 minutes of exercise minimum.
sugar intakes,
Yep.
carbs do turn into sugar in the body. So,
Yep.
guys, do research.
Yep.
Do
It's the
research on
type
that.
of food that you eat when you're borderline diabetic or diabetic. You have to be on a strict diet. But um, you can start now by making sure that your food is balanced and healthy and portion control is there, so you don't ever have to get um into that arena. But yes, there's type 1 diabetes and this type 2 diabetes that actually is affecting a lot of young children, particularly because they don't exercise enough. I always encourage people to get their kids into sports because they're so hooked with the technology and the gaming and stuff.
Mhm.
Back in the day, we always had the chance to, after homework, they let us run around outside, in the backyard for about an hour or two. But these days, kids are pretty much home in front of the TV gaming. So I always say, get them involved in some sports, soccer, basketball, whatever it is. But
Swimming
yeah,
it helps too. Works
yeah,
out
swimming too.
the muscles. You know,
Hmm. But yeah,
it's very fun.
yeah,
I'm
great conversation. I know we're about approaching 2 hours. You've got me for another 15 minutes only because I'm gonna get ready to try to enjoy the Sunday afternoon, go outside and touch the grass.
I mean, we
But
could end it.
I want to
We
thank
could end
you
this now
for
if you want.
say it again.
I said it's okay to end it now because you're right. I never go over one hour and 30 minutes, but it's so fun when
Oh yeah, I
we talk
mean, if
about these
if if
things.
the conversation is good and people are
Yes.
here, why not? I'm always up for it. I never have anything that's less than an hour. I don't know how people do it because I always open up for questions and conversations. But I don't ask anyone if they have any questions the last 15 minutes. But I wanted to thank you, Sonia, for such candid conversation. To open up a platform where we can just talk about real life issues, tough issues that are tough to discuss, not necessarily on some high level therapeutic analysis, but to kind of, share some personal experiences and um, get it out there that, we really need to have conversations with it. My goal is always that the takeaway, right? That people leave
Yes.
our space and they take that conversation somewhere else. They have it with someone else. They have it with their children, their family members, and that's what's always in my heart, that they can come here and, that we can stimulate, be that catalyst, to get that conversation going for someone else.
No, most definitely. And I honestly appreciate you, Nadine, for taking out the time to joining me, having this open discussion. I honestly appreciate you. Women empower women, women lead, women teach, and it's something that we're going to continue to do, you know, no matter which way we go about it, whether it's through social media. I'm going to continue doing this. We as much as possible. Topics here and there I get stuck on, but what my thing always leads to the next topic. And like I said, I honestly appreciate you being here.
Yeah,
Viewers,
and let's bring some more people up next time too. Make it a
oh
little
yeah,
more diverse. Bring some men up here on the platform. Just because we talk about issues or women issues, I always like to get a man's perspective as well. If we can get someone, if someone is bold enough to come up with this
I have
powerful group
someone
of women
in
up here.
mind. I don't know if he's watching. I have somebody in mind.
Okay, yeah,
So
why not?
he'll make an appearance. Guys,
But yeah, but Sarah, Sonia, I'm here today. I accepted your invitation because, I feel like you're the real deal,
thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I don't, this is my actually first appearance on YouTube. I have had other invitations that I didn't accept. But I feel comfortable enough to come on your YouTube channel with your fan base to participate in such important, you know, topic that that is really pervasive in the society, amongst us, amongst females, amongst children, our children. And, it was truly an honor to be here, to have that conversation with everyone. I look forward to joining you again on some other topics. Let me know. Um, Sunday's good. I'd be a little bit more relaxed and laid back in the mornings and early afternoons, if you want to catch me. But it was definitely great being here with all y'all. I don't know if anyone has some questions. 15 minutes if they want to come up or shoot some questions. I'm more than happy to answer.
Yes, if anyone has any questions, concerns, or any, comments regarding today's topic, feel free to put it in the comment section. Oh, Nadine, look.
Very much appreciated. Anytime. My wisdom is nothing if I can't share it. That's the way I see it, right? What's the purpose of, having knowledge that you don't share it with anyone? So, um, that's just my position on that. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Knowledge is power, guys. Always leave room for growth, always have time for growth.
And learning is lifelong, Sonia. There's no age limit. I've seen people graduate at the age of like 80, 90. We've seen them with those graduate diplomas. So, learning is lifelong. Don't ever let anyone tell you too old to learn anything.
Hi, Bernie. He's always doing these things. I would like if somebody could comment on their takeaway on today's topic. It could be anyone. It could be small, little, big. You know, Nadine is a special guest. She took a lot. She helped a lot with this topic and this subject and everything. Very appreciative. Very smart. Okay, I guess nobody has any questions, concerns, anything.
Hello.
How about your nose, Mama?
Okay.
All right, guys. Since I
Did
guess
Rodney have a question? He said it had nothing to do with the stream. What was the question?
who
I don't know. I saw somebody put a comment about they had a question that I have a question like a lot, but non-stream related. Okay, what question is it?
prove a stick, Ronnie. What's the question?
Oh, you're welcome, Tim. It was a pleasure.
I have a feeling they're typing a paragraph. Yeah, I definitely think that's Bernie's alt account.
Who?
Bernie, he switches all in between accounts.
Okay.
He's like the jokester
Oh,
amongst the
okay.
group. So yeah,
I got it. Yeah, these we have to laugh a little bit with these subjects. They're a little
look
heavy.
at this. I told
Oh, okay, we got it. We don't want to talk about that. That's for another show. We can talk about men and wax. We can have a whole other show about that, and then we can even bring some videos where they're getting waxed. Let me tell you. Yeah, and I got a story I could tell you about that too.
you. Ooh, most definitely. I'll be
That's for
interested
another
in
show.
hearing that story. All right, guys. It is 3:19 Eastern time. Um, I would like to say my final thank yous again. Once again, I want to thank you, Nadine.
Great
As you
show,
are
Sonia. Great show.
awesome.
Great show. Thank you
Um,
so much, everyone. Much love.
thank you for being here, watching, commenting. We love these type of topics and conversations, open minds. Thank you so much. Thank you, guys. Nadine, hang back for a little bit. Guys, I'll catch you later. Till next Sunday. Bye.
Bye.